programs like these for the lovely community. If you ever have any ideas, feel free to hit me up and let me know. But yeah, super excited to be here, blessed to be here. And I want to do a brief introduction for the lovely Mac Jack we have here, CEO and co-founder of Team Alliance. For those who don't know her, she's been a creator since day one of Creative's launch back in 2018. And she's worked with her team on a lot of collaborations with not just only Epic Games, but Kid Leroy's Wildest Dreams was one of their projects, Coachella Island, Fortnite Football Club, Adidas, Doritos, collaborations, Maybelline, and even more than that, some NDA stuff. But Mac Jack also dedicates a lot of her time to mentoring fellow creators such as yourselves. I'm sure a lot of you have chatted with her. She loves talking about commercial work. She loves helping those who are looking to make a career in the space. And we are so lucky to have time with her today. And Mac Jack, we've
so
talked,
sweet.
but I'm going to pretend I don't know a whole lot about you.
Sure.
I can't wait to learn.
I love it.
But I want to make sure and open the space up for you to chat more about your experience from your point of view and your journey as a creator. So what has that been like?
I think to sum it up, I would say it's been like a roller coaster ride. I think there's as with everything in life, there's its ups and downs, and you kind of learn to roll with it. And I have had an insane journey in this space and being here since day one and learning all of the new that has come in every single update since day one has been challenging but really exciting and has really pushed me to grow in my own skills and my own just life experience. It's been a really exciting and powerful journey so far. And I feel like it's only like it's weird. I feel like every time I have these conversations, I'm like, it's just getting started. It's just getting started. But it really is. It's been 4 years, but we are really just getting started, and it's gonna get even crazier, more exciting, and I'm really pumped for that.
Heck yes. Well, I'm so excited to hear. I do have a one-off question for you here about, you mentioned a lot of skills that you've really grown into. Is there one in particular where when you started on this journey, you went, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that, or that's not really my strong suit, but now it's something that you're really proud to flex on the day-to-day for yourself and proud that you were able to get a really strong grasp on?
Yeah, I think for me, it first, like my own personal journey, like the skills that I am very proud of is just the business side that have come with being a creator and working with the commercial aspects of what I do. We were the first team, and looking back at how much we have grown and how much I personally have grown in the whole behind the scene operational side of working in the commercial aspect as a creator, it was all tossed on my lap, and I had to learn and dive into the business world and really understand the marketing aspects of what we do and the legal aspects of what we do. And it's a whole heap of a world that I was not even remotely in prior to this. And so it's been a lot of learning on my end and figuring out, how to protect my team and how to do this correctly and fairly for all parties involved, and really learn from our mistakes too, because at the end of the day, we're setting precedent here. This is a new space. UEFN is new. We're going to be making mistakes in order to learn and grow. And I think that's exciting for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. One thing, at least in my experience, that I've learned from other people that I've worked with, people who I've seen grow in the space and really thrive, the common denominator, because I've known a lot of people that came from the community in game dev or came from the community and then became creators, content creators, all sorts of people adjacent and inside of our industry. The common denominator is usually just diving in and going, hey, if I mess up, I mess up. If I don't know something, I don't know it, I'll go learn, and just throwing yourself in. Yeah. And then seeing what happens. Everyone I know who has done that has really succeeded. So absolutely something I would also recommend. That's a great call out.
Yeah. I think it's exciting just to jump on that. I love it. it's exciting to me knowing, like with UEFN, that there's so many more different career opportunities that you can really focus in on. I think the most important thing is just being passionate and loving what you're doing. And if you're not a mechanic, you don't have to be a mechanic. You can just focus in on one aspect of game dev and build a career around that. So I think that's what's really exciting to me about a lot of these changes is it's bringing in those opportunities for the people who are an all-around creator who can put out a map and do all aspects of it. You can, just focus in on the skill that you're passionate about and that you're excited about and grow from there.
So funny enough, I know not to take away from the things that you are sharing, but to add that so for me personally, I was video editing as a hobby. And that video editing as a hobby as a kid got me into the industry of gaming because of that skill that I fostered and really, really focused on finding value in the industry I wanted to be in by saying, hey, I know how to do this thing that you are looking for. Like, give me a chance. So, and I know that's a good topic here too for creators, creative UEFN. There are needs for graphic designers, there's needs for video editors, there's needs for business, right? And like even
100%.
even HR in the future.
That you're not even wrong. Like we've had that conversation at Alliance, even like in HR department, because like when you're working with others, there's going to be conflicts that happen. We're all humans. We all have flaws and make mistakes, and communicating is hard. But there are those jobs out there that if you really love gaming and you want to be in the gaming field, but you might not have the brain to be able to be a coder or to be an artist, there are, managing jobs that you can be a part of. And maybe you're really good with the community, and we need social media managers. We need, project leads and project managers. Like there's so many opportunities here, and just making sure that you find a place that you're happy and you're passionate and excited about your.
Yep, absolutely. And for those that are just coming into, we collected questions ahead of time, so whenever we do these fireside chats, we will post about it in announcements and have a channel where you can submit. We have so many questions so far already that we sadly cannot take anymore, but we might not even get to all those we had, but we're gonna do our best. But that's usually, if you would like to participate in that, that's what we'll be doing. So appreciate your patience on that. So let's dive in. We've got so much to talk about. I could talk to you all day, MacTech. There's so many questions I have for you. I'm just so curious to hear. I mean, hopefully, maybe I'll be able to throw in some about building a team and things like that, because I know you really have a lot of experience doing that. You have a few new members of the team. Congrats to those that are joining and or have joined. I know there's some surprises coming, but really, it's good to see you all here. Welcome. For the questions that we have from the community, gonna kind of just dive in lightly here. But someone was curious what your favorite kind of island to build is and why.
Ooh, okay. I think personally, I love escape games. I think I just love the creating a puzzle that needs to be solved, and you can get really clever with just all the different ways you can make an escape room. I like that's what I started with. The very beginning of creative was making some sort of like escape obstacle game, and I built that as my first piece, and I've been like just itching to do a UEFN escape game, so hopefully you'll see something Alliance Escape in the future soon. But yeah, they're so much fun. You can just get really creative, and with all of the new things you can do in UEFN now, I think it's just you can even one up it even more with the different sequences and cinematics. And I can't wait to do an escape game.
Well, don't tease us like that, Mac. Because that sounds, I mean, gosh, the things that we are seeing, I think we can all collectively agree, the things that we're seeing come out from UEFN, and not to take away from creative at all, but just recently a lot of the UEFN stuff is starting to come to a head because it's been about 3 months, right? So people are really, really getting excited, putting their stuff out there that they've been working so hard on. And really, there's so much you can do and getting creative. And I know this platform's in its infancy. It is, I believe when we launched it, we were saying like, hey, it's still beta, like we're still working on this. And when it comes to that, even back in the day with anything we've done with technology, coming up with creative ways to get done what you're trying to get done, and then it evolves over time, and eventually there's tools that make it a lot
Right.
easier. I really commend all of you for what you're doing, with not only the tools that are available, but coming up with new ways to do stuff. So it's super awesome, and I am so excited to see an escape room. I think that would be wild. So excited for that. I remember the first island I ever played was an escape room, and I
Oh,
thought to
nice.
myself, how creative are all these things? Like, I think it might have even been your island. I'm not sure. It was so long ago. I was into a prop to get through a crack or something.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like,
Oh
wow,
yeah.
this is
I've
so
done that in
cool.
one of mine before. I love it. It's so great.
So creative. So with the island design and layout, MacJack, what do you look to for inspiration and theme with the team? Like, I know in your video that came out, which everyone should go check out, that is on our Fortnite Create YouTube, talking all about the things that MacJack and Alliance has done in their journey, especially yours, MacJack, and how they're feeling at this moment and how things are going. Curious to hear what that process looks like. We saw a little bit of you all going through it on a whiteboard and even in the actual platform. What is your process for being for I guess I
When you're in the ideation phase is coming up with like a mood board, a theme of where you're wanting to take this. I find so much value in getting a whole reference board of images. So taking a look at movies and set designs from TV shows and different video games that you've played and different designs on what those look like, using Pinterest, even using like AI photo generators is a good call. Anything that can help you in planning out your process and then getting it all on a mood board and then picking apart, what you want your space to look like based on those references is really smart and efficient to just getting it all out and organized in a visible space. I definitely say references is one of the best ways to go about building your island theming and design and layout.
That's a great call. And I love that you mentioned other mediums too, like movies and TV.
Yes.
I mean, even music videos, right? Like you can anything visual you can get inspiration from. How
Mm-hmm.
books, I mean, your favorite things. I think that's when people really shine is when they pull from the things they're most passionate about and put it together into an
Yeah,
experience. Oh, that's
absolutely.
awesome. Uh, this was an interesting question. So you've been here since day one of Creative, and you were here for day one of UEFN. What was your first day of Creative like versus the first day of UEFN?
Oh wow. Um, First day of creative, you know, I think I was the trailer that came out for Creative Beginning had me so hyped. I loved Battle Royale. I played Battle Royale since season one, but the thought of making your own game for your friends to play just totally excited me. So I was all like, let's go, let's go. But to be honest, like my first day in UEFN, I was part of the alpha program, which was really awesome. But I was very overwhelmed, and it was very scary for me. And I think that that's good to recognize, right? And to not be afraid of. When you're used to your job being showing up. I was a controller player, so I built on controller on my Xbox day one of creative, and now I'm PC. And so having to learn going from controller to keyboard and mouse, that was a whole learning curve for me. And there was a lot of fear that came with, all these new tools, new UEFN coming out, and am I going to be able to take on all of this that's being tossed my way? There was a lot of fear that came with it, and honestly there still is, and there's we are we living up to the expectations of what we want to be and in our field, and are we being successful, are we making the right choices? And there's always, in the back of my head, going to be a little bit of fear there, but there's also the excitement of learning something new and knowing that you're going to be able to grow and be even better. So I think it's really exciting to me to look back at my journey and to see some of the experiences that I made in those early days, and then recognizing just how far I've come, and it's okay that I do still have some fears, and I am still learning. And I think that that's like a huge thing I wanted to talk to the community about. I see a lot of people, that even have mentioned they haven't released their first UEFN experience yet, and they're fearful of it. Or are they going to be able to release something that's going to compete with these other experiences that might, have stand on their own and be successful? And I think we get dangerous when we play that comparison game, and we really shouldn't be doing that. I think we all can have our own successes, and we all need to be really proud of our own individual journeys. So my advice to all of you guys is just keep at it. Don't be rushed into your own learning and your own growth. And I'm holding myself to that as well, and to not rush my learning through what I'm learning in UEFN, and take it at my own pace.
Well, I want to thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that experience with us and answering it in that way. I was expecting you to say like, oh, GDC was like this, or oh, it was crazy with all that. But this took a different direction than I was expecting. And I really appreciate that, because I think it sounds like, according to chat, a lot of people in here wanted that validation as well. Like, oh, I was scared when all these new tools were presented. I was scared because I wasn't sure if I would be able to do this. And I know we've all felt that way. I mean, even me, myself, like, first role in the industry. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Oh, there's so overwhelming. Can I do this? Would I be able to do this? And the biggest thing I have learned over time, I feel like too, and it sounds like you would agree, Mac Jack, is I believe it's a quote about when we're scared about something or we're nervous about something, it's usually because there's room to grow. It's a challenge. It's something that will help us grow as a person. And so it's easy to get comfy and just stay what you're doing because it's safe. I'm not scared. But when you jump into the thing that you're nervous about, you're going to come out the other end going, wow, now I can do this, or I learned this, or wow, I was so worried about it. And then
absolutely. Like that, so cool. That jumping, jump out of that comfort zone. You're 100% right. That's where you're going to grow. Is when you are feeling nervous and you're not sure, you have to jump, and you don't know what's around the corner. And I think that's super exciting. I would have never guessed in a million years that my life would be where it is right now, and that that can be everybody's story. You have no idea when your opportunity is going to come knocking. You just have to be willing to make the choice and try your best.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for sharing that. That was awesome. Another question, what would you recommend someone do when the artistic part of a map feels empty, but you don't know how to fill it? I think you answered a little bit of this with the mood board and things like that, but curious to hear if you have anything for that specific scenario.
Yeah, I think one of the exciting things about game dev is you're able to make structural changes really easy in a game engine. If I'm in my house and I want to fill up my living room and fill the space with different props or home decor, I'm working with the walls I have. But the nice thing about the creations you're making is you can move walls, you can adjust them, you can, if you created a huge space and you're like, this is way too big to fill with things, adjust your wall, add angles there, bring it in, tighten it up, add props. But look at those reference images of the space you're building. So if you are building a restaurant, look at how restaurants are built in real life and get some of those references for what props you might be looking for to fill it. But I would say look at the structure first and bring in those walls and confine it tighter than what you think you might need to be.
That's smart. That's smart. And then the beauty of it too, I believe someone also touched on this in chat, is the ability to create what you don't have. So someone said, who is it? Oh, no Chester, Noxter. UEFN didn't have the stuff I desired in the beginning, and I ended up building my own stuff, which is essentially, the ability to be able to more inspiration in that way. Super smart. And to start smaller, like you're saying, rather than too big. We've all been there. I mean, we've all played simulation games where we built something out even before being creators, and we went, oh, why is my Sims house like 8,000 square feet when I only have
it's so true. I mean, and it's honestly, it's one of the things I learned from the art team. I got to have one-on-one calls with our team at Epic, and they would review our work. And at times it was really harsh and hard to take, but it helped us grow and learn. And one of the pieces of feedback that we did receive from like the artists at Epic is the scale of what we're doing, and really look at, how big you're scaling your props and how big your environments are, and really, confine them and bring them in, and figure out like the overall size and scale first. That's going to be really, really vital to just the whole level design.
Great call out. Great call out. This one's I love this question that was submitted. What has been your favorite part about working with members of Alliance? I feel like I have somewhat of an idea after the video that you shared and the things that you've said. Even when I first met with you, the first thing you did was talk all about the members of your team and how sweet they are and wonderful they are and how much you admire them. So sounds like I'm excited to see what you elaborate on this, or what great story you have to tell.
Yeah, I could talk for days about my team. I love every single one of them. They can go and kind of learn a little bit why they mean so much to me, but they really are a family, and that's something that I hold a lot of value to at Alliance, is just really creating an environment where we get to just be friends with each other. And that for me is the most exciting part about working with everyone at Alliance, is just being able to communicate with all of them and get to know them on a personal level, and separate, we are working and we are getting a lot done. This is a job, but we are still friends, and being able to just hang out and chat with them, or, help them through any issues they might be having. Honestly, some of my favorite parts of being with my team is when they're going through struggles, and I can just be there to listen while they're venting to me, and just being that friend. That for me, it makes this all worth it. It's building those connections and having a good support system behind you. And teams for me is...
Absolutely. And I want to do a spin-off question, not one that we'd gathered before, but I am really curious here. Do you have any advice for building a team, or selecting members of a team, or starting a team, anything in general that's like a nugget of advice that you don't normally see that you've learned so well?
Yeah, I think it's essential to find like-minded individuals that challenge you, and finding people that you communicate well with. Communication is the key, 100%. You need to build trust, and just talk through anything and everything. So for us, we got very lucky that we started out at, very small, and built our friendship first, and then grew it into a company. And that has made us really tight, and trust each other a lot, which is very helpful in such an industry that changes like on a regular basis. Just being around individuals that you can trust, and know that you have the same goals, right? You have the same minds, and outlook on how this is going. I think that's the most important part, is just find your person that you want to start this with, and then keep building. Find who's going to fit, finding the right fit versus the skill they might have. It is most important to me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's definitely insightful, and it's not something we talk about a lot at like scale. So
No,
super,
it's
super
not.
helpful.
Yeah.
So this is an exciting one. What has been your favorite island or project to work on, and why?
Ooh.
If you can talk about it. One you can
Yes.
talk about.
Yes. Actually, I think my favorite has been Tones and I. And the reason it was my favorite was because I was introduced to her music. I was not aware of Tones and I prior to working on that project, and I became a fan of hers after working on that project. And that for me, like, it just opened up my eyes to how powerful what we do really is, to be able to introduce a musical artist into the gaming industry, creating an experience for them. And then I am now a fan of hers, and whoever listened to her music, and played that experience, maybe more fans were made. And I think that is like, wow, powerful, and was really exciting for me to be a part of. And I grew a lot personally on that project. So that one takes my current cake.
Heck yeah. She has a really unique voice, and I
Oh
believe
yeah.
she's super young too, isn't she? I remember hearing that she was quite young when her first single came out. So that's really cool. You introduced her to a whole new thing with all that too. That's
Yes.
that gaming. That's exciting.
Yes.
Um, good question. Let's see. How has the progression of creative as and UEFN and into UEFN as a whole determined what you set your mind on to accomplish next? So this person's asking because after finishing a project, it's usually kind of difficult to decide. Like you're on the the end of that, and you're like, oh, it's out there, it's live. Now what? So they're wondering how you best decide what to try out next whenever y'all are deciding.
Yeah, I think it can be tricky, right? Because it's going to motivate you, and but then also, if you're doing this as a career, you need to be making the smart business decisions to make sure you're not, wasting your time on something that might not be the best time to go forth with. I think at Alliance, I really am encouraging my team to come up with ideas and have a list of what we want to build and then prioritize when we're going to release them. I think that it's good to start small. I see a lot of creators wanting to go all in and go crazy, custom, brand new, huge piece, max out on memory, and then release it. But I think it's going to be really smart especially if you're a new creator getting into here, is to start with something small and find what's motivating to you, what genre you might click well with and get you excited about. Go in and play the different games and test out different genres and different art styles and what you're clicking with, and then that's going to help motivate you to build whatever you want to do next.
Awesome. Thank you. We got so many, so I just want to make sure we
Yeah,
I feel like I keep elaborating on them so much that and we're seeing a lot of love in chat for you, by the way, Magic.
Yay.
Saw some people just, oh, you're such an inspiration.
Thanks,
And
guys.
I believe Stacy's sending you some messages we're getting on Twitch as well, for how much people love you. So we're really thankful that you took the time. And also for those of you here, if you are interested in sharing your story, if you're interested in coming up here and being brave and
Yes.
and dealing with me, please send me a DM because I would definitely love to put you on the list. So that would be cool.
Yes.
So got an interesting question from someone a little outside the space. Had someone who is a game producer with 15 years experience in a AAA studio. They just went full time into creating UEFN maps as a game dev, but they're unsure on what to focus on with all the ever changing space. So there's updates all the time, for example, from us in blogs. We're listening to feedback and incorporating it where we can to really improve the experience. But I could see how there would be a lot of change there happening. What tips for consistent success in regards to UEFN maps would you give to someone who's nervous about all the change they're seeing?
Yeah. Well, I think back to what I said before, starting small is definitely what I would recommend. So don't shoot yourself by making something that you're planning out a whole year project on. Start small and build up your skills. I think it's really smart to take a look at discovery and to try to understand the current player base and what they're enjoying, and then figuring out if you can put your own twist on it and getting your experience visible in discovery, and then seeing how those players bring feedback. But really looking at discovery, hopping into those games and playing them and figuring out what the player is enjoying. I think it's smart to try to follow some of the meta of what's happening, but then also maybe dual project work on a new unique thing while doing some of the meta of what might already be popping off to players in the game. You want to figure out, as a studio, you've got 15 years experience in AAA studio. That's amazing. Like, all props to you, whoever gave that question in. But I think the Fortnite players are going to be a little different than some of your other audiences of your traditional game dev studio putting it out onto Steam or whatever. So if you understand the Fortnite audience, that's where you're going to find your most success, is getting in and playing with the Fortnite audience first.
Great point. I also want to throw there, because I'm not sure how much this has happened yet, but I am curious to see how it evolves over time when people who come from traditional development backgrounds start creating things with their following they have on Twitter, say, or the experience that they do have in saying, hey, I'm creating something over here in Fortnite and UEFN Creative, and how that changes things. I think that's in good ways, right? Like, we'll always have the base of what people are looking for. And, we're always hoping to expand that and have more and more players that are excited to play all of your creations, who love the variety of different things. So
Oh yeah.
definitely encourage, like, hey, also, if you're doing something really great over there, or you've got this like game up your sleeve, and you come from a traditional background where you've been wanting to do something like this for a while, now you find it there with the tool of Fortnite Creative or UEFN, give it a shot. I mean, it's, you own it, it's your thing, and you can always expand on it and put it out on Steam one day,
Yeah.
right? That's your creation. So it's a good place to test things out, I think, too, like you're saying, MacJack, as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about, like, you mentioning, like, bringing in audiences that don't exist yet. Like, that is one of the things that I'm most excited about, getting more female gamers into this space. Like, I could talk the whole hour about that. But I think it's, if you're new to the Fortnite scene and don't understand the players and where they're at now, I think it's also important to understand the capabilities of what you can build in UEFN and some of the limitations as well. That way, if you're trying to introduce a new genre of game or something that doesn't exist in this space, you can kind of prepare yourself for, if we're not quite capable of different UI changes and getting a player to understand super complex games, there's need for certain UIs that we can't do yet. And so it might be smart to hold off on some of those ideas until those capabilities come in, and work on growing your skills in other areas while waiting. And I think that that's super important, just to understand, like, what you're actually capable of currently.
I want to highlight what you mentioned there too about women who are potentially, want to create or who are creators. You're you're an inspiration in the space for a lot of people, and especially women. And curious to hear what advice, shouting out curious again. I default to that word curious, but
I love
also
it.
I love you. But would love to hear your thoughts on advice you would give to women in the space, both potential women in the space and women who are here, but advice that you would give from your point of view of what you've experienced.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I've had a lot of conversations just around, like, the lack of the female presence in this space, and it is sad. I do hope that it improves over time, but I think, personally, I think a lot of it is just the emotional roller coaster that game dev can have, and it can be a challenging field to be in, and getting control over your emotions is, it's a personal struggle I have, and I hold a lot of just passion and heart for what we do. And when something does fail, or doesn't do as well as we hope it does, that can be really hard. And taking on that emotion and knowing how to process and deal and get through it is really important. And as a female, we handle things differently. And with Fortnite being so ever evolving and changing, it can be super scary and feel a lot of pressure on yourself. You put these expectations on yourself. So I think my advice to females is, get in, be excited about what you're creating. Don't put hard expectations on yourself. Be very, very patient with yourself and your own journey, and just do things with love, and just take your time and be passionate about it. And then you'll have some success. But if you go in and try to beat certain, you know, compare and expectation for yourself, it can then result in just a harder, emotional breakdown you might have to go through, and that can be, really, really struggle. But I think just be patient is my best advice there.
Yeah, I mean, even me when I was growing up, I loved video games. When I was like 7, I was building out characters for video games and levels and maps and things like that I wanted and stories. And I even did voiceovers
Yes.
for what the story would be when I was
Love
really
it.
little. Those tapes exist. How embarrassing. But they're locked in a box somewhere. Um, but I always told myself, well, this is for guys. Like, I'm probably never going to make it, or probably just isn't for me.
Yep.
And then by chance, by, like I said, having a skill that was needed in the industry and all of those things kind of aligned. And my passion for a game community that I was in kind of got me there. But for the longest time, I thought, this would never happen for me. I,
Yeah.
I, based on the responses I've seen from what you are saying in the chat, I'm wondering for the men that are here with what MacJack's saying about the emotional roller coaster of creating, is that something you all feel as well? Is it specific to women or even more intense for women, or is it something that men also feel?
Yes.
Oh. Thank you.
Yeah.
Non-binary folks as well, of
Love
course.
it.
But yeah, I wonder because I feel like at least when I've been worked in previous places when I was working in content creation and other areas, all creators of all different types, that was the biggest thing. So you're definitely not alone, MacJack, and
No.
I think it's great to prepare women for that. But gosh, content creation in general, UGC,
It's hard.
it's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for sharing, everyone. Hugely emotional. One day you make something that pops off, and then something you pour your heart into and gets one play a day at most. Oh my gosh, I could tell you so many stories of developers that are working in Steam that I know personally who, they had a big hit or something, and then they make something that's their passion project. They're like, okay, this is what I really always wanted to make.
Yep.
And then no one plays it. And they're like, my heart is crushed, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
just, yeah, it happens to everyone. So
Oh, I see it.
I'm so sorry it does,
I
but
see
yeah.
it from everybody, and it's really hard. Like, even my team, when it happens, and certain individuals work on one project, and that project didn't succeed as much as another one, and then you go through the feeling like you're a failure. But every project has value. Every choice you're making, every stepping stone you're doing has value and is worth it and is a part of your journey. And I think that that's what's most important is just knowing, like, it's not a failure. It was a step towards your next step. And I think that it's really important to just have supportive people around you. I think that that's where you're going to be, because I looking back, like, it's been really hard. It's been an emotional roller coaster, but I don't know that I would still be here if I wasn't on a team, if I didn't have that supportive people behind me to just keep pushing me on. And to know, like, when you're having a bad moment, you didn't get that feature, you got a rejection or whatever happened, just knowing it's going to pass and you're going to have a positive that's going to happen after. And sometimes it takes just having a friend by your side to say, we're going to get through this. It's going to get better, and it sucks. Maybe it wasn't fair, but it's going to get better. And having that support system is vital.
I want to give a shout out to this community in general, because I've seen a lot of communities. I've been in a lot of communities in my day, and I want to talk about how wonderful you all are in supporting each other. I know, in the creative space in UGC, we can feel we're in competition, and that can sometimes cloud things, but this is the most supportive and loving community I have ever seen in my experience.
Yes.
And that deserves a shout out to each and every one of you here. MacJack being, a leader in the space, doing that as well. We appreciate you endlessly over here on Epic. But you are part of that, because it really means a lot to me as community manager. I know it means a lot to Epic. It means a lot to each and every person here. Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional.
No, I feel you.
But y'all really do support each other. The first thing that happens when I talk about another creator is other people jump in and go, "You're wonderful," and
yeah.
I don't know where we all would be if we didn't have a community like that, right? So thank you for that.
This community is like nothing else. It's seriously amazing, and that, like, I'm always going to be the person that says, look, let's shout each other out. Let's be excited of our friends' success, and it's going to make you a happier person too. Like, if you're not competing against your fellow creator, your fellow teams, and just being excited about what they're doing and their achievements, then you're going to have your own achievements as well. And you're going to have a better mood and a better environment and happier. And that's why I love being involved on social media. I'm not as active when UEFN was released and all of these new experiences have been coming out, and seeing people's skills that I didn't even know they had, and seeing like modelers, or you're a modeler, had no idea you had that skill set, and people learning verse and seeing all that. Like, I'm so proud of this community. Like, people are
we all appreciate you. Ooh, we got a question about being a lead, and this is really inspiring because we were chatting about this offline. How it feels to be a lead, how emotionally gratifying it is, how overall in life it's so gratifying to have that team, but also to be able to help people succeed, to be there for people, to take that role, which not everyone can do. Well, I guess maybe everyone could if they did their due diligence to be a good leader, and study up on that if you need to, or watch people such as yourself doing it the right way and taking care of their people. But someone was asking, what is it like to lead a team of creators like yourself?
Yeah. And okay, what is it like to lead? I will say it's challenging. It's a good challenging, though. I like problem solving. I like just connecting and fixing issues, like conflicts. It's funny because most people don't like conflicts, and at the end of the day, they are hard. But I like talking things out. I like arguing. I like hearing other people's point of views and opinions. I also like to say it's so important to know, like, it's okay if you can't be a leader. It's okay if you need somebody to lead you and to help manage your schedule and your day-to-day, because not everyone's brains work the same, and that it's super important to just know, like, it's completely okay if you can't be that leader. But know that, like, even being a leader, it's still listening to everyone that you're leading, and taking all of their opinions and all of their feedback, and figuring out how to resolve best for everyone, and that to deal with the repercussions of that, and just being there for your people. And I think that's where I like to be just really transparent and talk to my team and just be, human about it, and let them know, like, we're not all going to be happy here, but we're going to work through it. And I want you to be comfortable to come to me with any issues, and come to me with worries or frustrations, and get them out, like, speak whatever, like, we're going to work through it. And I think that's what's most important, is just knowing, like, at the end of the day, we're going to work together to resolve whatever's going on. As far as, like, what's funny that we've done, I mean, my team is so funny in general, and there's oftentimes that we don't get a lot of work done because we're goofing off and laughing and all trying to eliminate snow, team up and eliminate snow in any of our play testing. If you ever do a play test with Alliance, it's a general rule of thumb that we all must team up against snow, and go on a manhunt for him, and that usually ends in some comedy. We had a play test yesterday, I believe, where we had a couple clips happen from the team actually eliminating snow, and then we clip it in chat and we send it in our group Alliance chat, and kind of rouse on snow, and I'm sure he loves every bit of it. But it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in Alliance, for sure.
Oh, snow. Someone was asking, they're like, but particularly what's happening with snow? Tell me about this anonymous
He's
stories.
Just so good. Like, the frustrating thing is, I used to be really good at Battle Royale and just combat competitive maps. I used to love them. I grew up playing Call of Duty, super competitive player. But Snow is a toxic competitive player, and he knows when I'm not skilled anymore, and so he'll box me into a box, and then he'll pickaxe me, and I'm like, I've got a weapon, and he's still able to pickaxe me, and I'm like, that is unnecessarily toxic. And so from now on, it's let's all just team up on Snow.
Jag, do you hear that? I see this future for you in our epic play test. in the kindest way. Snow is Mac Jack's Jack.
So good.
Eventually, everyone's gonna lose it and just be like, "Let's go get him." He's just too good.
Yes.
Oh my
So
goodness.
good.
Oh gosh. So we talked a bit about innovating.
Mhm.
Someone is asking, outside of innovating and building a fun and engaging island, is there anything outside of the act of creation that you would recommend a creator study or work on to grow in the space or the industry?
Yeah, I
I
think
think you talked about business as well. That was a good one, but
Yeah, I think so. Definitely business. I mean, all aspects. If you're trying to get into the commercial side of what we are doing with Alliance or other teams are doing, working with brands or external companies in the space, or even working with influencers, be smart about it and make sure you're protecting yourself. You understand your value, and I know that it can be really exciting when a big company reaches out or an influencer reaches out, but also know your own worth and know when you need to get help and to ask for advice here and there, and who to reach out to in those moments can also be hard. But researching helps in the business side for sure. But I think a huge skill is just marketing and knowing we're a little limited on what marketing we can do right now. We are heavily in need of more video artists in this space. If you like doing trailers and do it in other aspects, get into Fortnite Creative and start doing trailers for some of them. There are just only a handful of trailer editors in the space, and there is going to be so many more creators that keep joining, and the amount of opportunities just for video editors alone is crazy to me. So I think there's so many different skills that you can really cater to in this field. But those are going to be the marketing and video editing for me is I'm going to mention those.
Thank you for mentioning those from a fellow video editor.
Yes.
who would honestly, who probably doesn't realize this space is existing. They probably don't realize there is opportunities there.
Yep.
We really got to get word out on that, because I've noticed it. I know we have roles in our Discord for video editing and graphic design. Very few people have that role. If you do have that skill, there's a reminder to select that role so your fellow creators can know, hey, you're down to be, to give your services and be contacted. So super, super great point. We only have a couple minutes left. Oh wait, well, we did run a little over. Do we want to go a whole hour, Mac?
Yeah, yeah, we're fine.
Do you have anywhere to go?
We're fine. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna make sure we have it timed at exactly an hour, so I'm not holding you too much.
Yes,
I know we have technical difficulties. What is, let's see, this is a good one. Well, we have this one that isn't really a question. They just wanted to say they really love your maps and to keep up the good work. You're getting a lot of love in chat today, but that was a submitted question, so
thank you.
I wanted to throw it out there because it's simple.
That's so sweet.
Yes, and I appreciate you all who did submit questions, by the way, for Mac Jack. This has absolutely been fantastic. What is the biggest, we've got kind of a two-parter. What is the biggest piece of advice you have for someone looking to take their creations to the next level? What's something where you look and you go, man, not enough people are doing this, or I see this awesome map that has all this potential, this island, but what they could have done this and it would have been the extra spice. I just see this often. Curious to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. I think in general, I want to see more of the development phases. I want to see more beta releases happening, and I want to see more changes inside those islands happening. I see a lot of one and dones. So they create something and then they don't go and nourish it and nurture and keep it alive, or make changes, or make improvements, add balancing and performance adjustments, and really trying to tweak and make your experience as best as it can be. And I think we get into this habit of having an idea, creating the idea, and then jumping to the next idea, versus really trying to make sure you're researching that idea after you've released it and getting in and playing your game with the players and getting some intel from that, and then learning from that and making those changes. I also think it's smart. I see a lot of people trying to go in and go all custom. I've seen a lot of drama on, what best route is if you're you're using, the packs that are already made for you, using a prefab versus going all custom. And I don't, like, personally, I think it's smart to, if you're new to this space, and even if you're not new, start with what's been given to you, and make the best out of some of those prefabs, make the best out of the resources you have available, and tweak them and adjust them little bits here and there. You don't need to do full facelift, redos, but small tweaks to adjust them. And then, as you're growing, and if the map is succeeding, and you've got your player base, start tweaking it. And you've got this really cool house that might have been an asset you purchased or you got for free, or maybe a month later you develop the skills to custom model it yourself, and now you can upgrade that and make it your own model and change that out, and then make a social post, we made an update to this, or I made an update to this, and really keep it alive and nourish it. I think tweaking things.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned for those who are not just starting out necessarily, but just having issues doing high quality play testing or feedback.
I
Any
have
thoughts
it.
around
Yes.
that? I know.
Yes.
Oh, you do? Let's go. Let's go.
So as the chat can see, FCHQ, there are communities out there that do help with playing. I've got a map, you've got a map. Let's help build each other playtest. Let's do a whole weekend of playtesting each other's experiences. Find the community, find a friend group that can help each other playtest your maps and build out those communities. But FCHQ is a source that's available for all creators. If you don't know about it, do some research into FCHQ. But it's great for helping to get some playtesting done on your experiences. And the playtesting side of maps is vital. You want to make sure your games are performing for all of your platforms, all of your audiences. So get in and get the playtesting done, so we're putting out experiences that aren't broken for our players.
As a fellow Switch player and PlayStation 5 player, I beg of you.
Yes.
I know it's not all of the creators' fault. I know we've got little bugs and stuff, but like I'll play something on one and then half of it's not working and I'm so sad. And then I'll play it on PlayStation. Maybe it's working great, or maybe there's one bug on one platform that's like something that could have been troubleshooted. But again, if you do find bugs, you've tried everything, you can't fix it, please use our bug form to report so we can take care of it too, on our end if it has to do with our updates and things like that. Very, very helpful. But yes, thank you, MacJack. Those are all great. My biggest things I've always wondered, is it widespread enough? Do people know enough about FCHQ? We've got, let's see, 4 more minutes left of our hour. The second part of the question was, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? And it doesn't have to relate to creative or UEFN. It can just be in your life as a person, in your growth and your journey.
Yeah. I think the best piece of advice I have ever received, I mean, I've received so many good pieces of advice, but the one that I'd like to refer back to the most is just to make mistakes. To make mistakes and not be afraid of making mistakes. To know as a person that, like, it's okay to fail, and it's a good thing to fail. And that's all, like, that's something most people don't say. Like, it's a good thing to fail, but it is. That's where you're going to grow, and I think that's something I remind myself of regularly when I'm down on myself, or something might have happened. Fires happen here, or whatever is going on throughout my day. It's okay. I'm going to learn from this, and I'm going to grow. And the next time this happens, I'm going to know how to deal with it, and I'm going to know what I need to do to make the best of it. And if not, I'll learn from that. And I think it's pretty solid advice.
That is a great call out. And is it really failing if we grew? Is it really failing?
Absolutely
end,
not.
Yeah, then it feels like a success.
Yeah.
And as cheesy as that sounds, I think we're right here. And we've got definitely some resounding yeses in our Twitch chat and our YouTube chat. So sounds like a lot of people have learned this wonderful piece of advice too, as has myself. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
One last question. It's very, very important, MacJack. What is your current go-to Fortnite outfit?
Well, so I wear Sparkle Specialist, and I've always worn Sparkle Specialist, but they have made so many cool skins lately. Like I can't keep up, and also it's really hard to just lock into a decision too. I'm a very indecisive person, and so I'm like, do I really want to say like this is my go-to always? But I do have to say Sparkle Specialist because she's been my beginning girl for day one. So I can't go against Sparkle Specialist. But the art team is crushing some of these skins lately. So really great work.
Awesome would call out Sparkle Specials earlier, so that's what prompted the question. They were like, I wonder, or I bet she's using Sparkles. So it's good to see that their confirmation is right.
Yeah.
Chad, what's your go-to outfit right now? Or, I mean, just right now, it doesn't have to be of all time. I'm just curious to hear what everyone's rocking. Let's see, we got Catastrophe, Demogorgon, heck yeah, Golden Bee Ball, Hugo, Jelly, Marshmallow. Oh my gosh, yeah, all Toon Meowscles. I do love Toon Meowscles. A goat is goated. Crow Feather, Moon Knight. Wow, Wolverine, Maya, Cornskin.
So many.
That's so cool. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Heck yeah, Ranger, Beach Bomb. We got another Maya, Burger Gang. Heck yeah.
I love it.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
A special thank you to MacJack for taking the time.
Of course.
We know you're busy. We know all of you are so busy working on your things, doing your, even you've probably got jobs and families, and it is recorded. It's going to be a VOD on our Twitch and our YouTube. So we'll live there forever. For those of you on Twitch or YouTube, thank you for checking us out. I see y'all over there.
Door reveal.
Yeah. They're just back there.
And everyone wants to know what's behind this small door. Oh my gosh. It's literally
everyone was talking.
Fun, I promise. It's an attic space. And it's just
I was gonna say like a crawl space.
It's hot in there. Not fun. But I'm gonna decorate it and theme it up and make it like super fun and suspicious. But I love you, chat. You guys are great.
I feel like you need to add lighting in there just because of this for next time. So there's creepy lighting coming out. I was wondering what the heck. I was wondering what the heck they were all talking about doors. I'm like, why are people arguing about doors? I didn't realize that was a tiny door.
I love it.
Anyway, I think this stream has gone on long enough, obviously.
So good.
But thank you again, MacJack. We appreciate you for all of your insight that you shared today. If you haven't yet, check out the Alliance video featuring MacJack and her wonderful teammates, all about their journey and experience up until now. For those of you here, if you're interested in being part of one of these, shoot me a DM or shoot Flack a DM. Let us know. We'd love to throw you on the list to be considered. We're just looking to sit down and have a cozy chat about all things creative, UEFN, the space. Even if you're somebody who's, in the industry, who's down to just come and talk a little bit, super open to that too. This is for us to all learn and get to know each other, and we really appreciate it. Again, if you want to check it out, YouTube and Twitch will have recordings. Thank you so much for all of your time today. I will see you all in Discord. We'll see you all in the community. If you have any thoughts or feedback on this, please let me know. Please hit me up. Let me know. Do you hate it? Do you love it? What could we do better? It means a lot to me. And just to keep on grooving and improving. So we appreciate it. And with that, I guess we'll peace out. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
I think MacJack, as a heads up, you'll have to leave. Last time Immature was stuck on here on accident. So.
All good. See you guys.
Okay. Bye, everybody.